I came home from night shift on a Thursday morning, dropped my keys on the counter, and saw the package. Small, brown box. One corner crushed like someone sat on it. Addressed to my 8-year-old son, Logan, but I didn't need to read the label to know who it was from. Dad's name was typed out, sure, but the handwriting, that was Mom. Neat and slanted, like she was still filling out Christmas cards with "Love you always," while making sure every word came with a side of guilt. Logan was halfway through a bowl of cereal, kicking his legs under the kitchen table like he had battery packs in his socks. He spotted the box and launched himself out of the chair like a rocket. Kid's got a weird obsession with mail. I swear you could send him a rock and he'd put it on his shelf like a treasure. "Is it for me?" he asked, eyes already scanning the label. "Go ahead," I said. "Open it." He peeled the tape slowly, careful, like he didn't want to ruin whatever was inside. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, just watching. Part of me already knew something was off. Don't ask me how, just a gut thing. Inside was a brand new soccer jersey, pink, with little silver stars stitched near the hem. Not his team's colors, not even close. Logan pulled it out and lit up like it was Christmas morning. He held it up over his head, did a spin like he was about to fly. Then he stopped. Right in the middle of the kitchen, he froze. His arms dropped a little, his brows pulled in. "Dad, who's this?" he asked. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I walked over, thinking maybe it was just a weird nickname, or they'd spelled his name wrong again. Wouldn't be the first time. But no. Right there, stitched in perfect white thread above the crest. Little Ryan. The air went still. Logan blinked at me, still holding the jersey like it might make sense if he stared long enough. "Is this mine?" he asked. "Who's Ryan?" My stomach dropped. I felt the blood drain from my face. My wife stepped in, kneeling beside him. "Hey, buddy, let's set that down for a second, okay?" He didn't move. "I don't mind if it's someone else's name. I like the stars." I took it from him, calm but firm, and walked out. No explanation, no scene, just straight to the bedroom. Sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the name. Ryan, 3 years older, bigger, louder, golden, dead. He overdosed when he was 27. We got a phone call from some woman we didn't know. Said she found him in her bathroom. Said she didn't even know he still used. My parents didn't ask a lot of questions. Just flew out, handled it, flew back. Closed casket, quiet burial. A few distant cousins came. Everyone else stayed quiet. That was a few years ago. We haven't said his name in this house since. And now my kid, my 8-year-old, was holding a stitched-up tribute like it was a damn gift. I heard my wife moving around in the kitchen, silverware clinking, cabinets opening and closing. Normal sounds. Except none of it felt normal anymore. I finally walked back out, jersey balled under one arm. Logan had gone back to his cereal, now soggy in the bowl. My wife gave me a look, not panic but waiting, ready to follow my lead. "Where'd they get it?" I asked. She shrugged. "Mail label said from your dad." "Yeah, I saw that, but Mom wrote it. You think she meant something by it?" I laughed, one of those dry ones that comes out like a cough. She never does anything without meaning it. We stood in silence for a second. Logan scraped his spoon across the bowl. "Does he know?" she asked quietly. "No, not yet. You gonna tell him?" "I don't know." She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "They've sent stuff before, but nothing like this." I nodded. "This wasn't a gift. It was a message." "To who?" "To me." I paused. "To all of us." She exhaled, slow and steady. "You want me to call them?" "No." I looked down at the jersey. "I'll handle it." She watched me fold it, slowly, tightly, like I was wrapping something radioactive. "You okay?" she asked. "No, but I will be." I opened the cabinet under the sink and shoved the jersey in one of the grocery bags we use for trash, tied it shut. No drama, just done. Then I pulled out my phone, scrolled to Mom, not saved with a heart or anything, just plain, and stared at the number. Thought about calling, but I didn't. Instead, I dropped the phone face down on the table and went to sit next to my kid. He looked up, mouth full of cereal. "Dad?" he asked. "Yeah, can I get a blue jersey for my team? Coach said we might get new ones." I reached over and ruffled his hair. "Yeah, buddy, I'll get you one. Not pink, not stitched, not someone else's name, just his." I got him the blue jersey that same weekend. No questions asked, no input from my parents, just me, Logan, and a sporting goods store down on Route 5. That was what a birthday was supposed to feel like, just about the kid. Not like mine. I was 9. We had balloons taped to the fence, 3 pizzas stacked on the patio table, and a banner that said Happy Birthday in big crooked letters. My name wasn't even on it, just Happy Birthday. Ryan had made starting striker for his middle school team, same day as my birthday. Somehow, that mattered more. Mom called it a perfect reason to get everyone together. Neighbors, cousins, a few of Dad's old coworkers I barely recognized. She invited them all, said we were celebrating both boys. But it wasn't both. Never was. He came out right before the cake, wearing his brand new uniform, pink alternate kit, stars stitched near the hem, his name across the chest like it was a movie poster. People actually clapped. Looking sharp, Rye. Future pro right there. Damn, look at that jersey. Even my uncle raised a paper cup of soda like it was champagne. To Ryan, he said, the golden foot. I stood behind the sliding door, watching it all. The pizza on my plate had gone cold. I hadn't even taken a bite. Nobody noticed. They were too busy asking what his team colors were, what his number meant, what game was next. I walked out to the back porch, sat on the top step, and stared at one of the balloons drifting across the yard. It caught on a branch and popped. No one looked, not even when I flinched. After a while, I went back inside and found Mom in the kitchen, cutting the cake. Chocolate, the kind Ryan liked. I hated chocolate cake. Always did. I tugged at her sleeve. Mom, I said, it's my birthday. She didn't even turn. Let Ryan have his moment. That line stayed with me like gum on the bottom of my shoe. Let Ryan have his moment, as if mine was always optional. The jersey, that ugly bubblegum pink thing with stars, burned into my brain. Every time I closed my eyes that day, it was there, shiny, loud, all eyes on him. I never forgot it. Even when he spiraled years later, even when he disappeared, that day stayed lodged in my chest like a splinter. So, when I saw something like that jersey on my son in my kitchen, it didn't feel random. It felt surgical. A rewind button I never asked for. And the worst part, I don't think my parents even realized what they were doing. They just reached back into the past and pulled out the one thing they thought was worth remembering. Not me turning 9. Not the pop balloon, or the cold pizza, or the cake I didn't eat. Just Ryan, in pink with the stars. Ryan was always the golden one. Smooth talker, crowd pleaser. The kind of guy who could walk into a room full of strangers and walk out with half of them calling him bro. Teachers loved him. Coaches worshipped him. And Mom treated him like he hung the damn moon. When he dropped out of college, they called it vision. Said he was too creative for a regular degree. He told everyone he was starting a media company. Ryan Cole Creative. He said it like it was already a brand. Talked about marketing, digital presence, building community. He threw around words like partnerships and strategy decks like he'd actually made money before. He didn't have a single client. Still, my parents wrote him a check for 20 grand right off the bat. Dad dipped into his retirement fund like it was pocket change. And so Mom called it seed money. They said he just needed a chance. I pitched in too. Gave him 3 grand. It was my rent money for that month. He promised I'd see it back double. He even sent me fake invoices to make it look like his company was legit. For a while I believed it. We all did. That's what we were taught to do. Believe in Ryan. Then the calls started. Unknown numbers. Missed payments. Credit inquiries I didn't recognize. I ignored the first few. Thought they were scams. Then a letter came, addressed to me, from a bank I'd never used. It said I was delinquent on a business loan I'd never taken. I called Ryan. He didn't pick up. Called again. Straight to voicemail, so I called my parents. Did you co-sign something for Ryan under my name? Mom hesitated before answering. That half-second pause told me everything. It's just a mix-up, she said. He was under pressure. Things will even out once his investors come through. Investors? I laughed. What investors? Dad took the phone. Son, he's trying. Don't make this harder for him. Harder for him. Right. I spent that night freezing in my own apartment, checking my accounts like a man watching his house burn down. New cards, new debts, all linked back to addresses connected to his business. He'd use my social, my name, my credit. I called again. Left a message this time. You stole from me. Fix it before I do. He never called back. Next morning, my mom showed up at my place with a grocery bag full of casseroles, like that was going to patch anything. She kept saying he'd sort it out soon. I told her I wanted to call the police. She grabbed my wrist and said, "You wouldn't do that to your brother." And for some reason I didn't. That's the part that still pisses me off. He disappeared a few weeks later. Shut down all his socials, phone disconnected. apartment empty. 2 years of silence. Then the call came. Mom's voice, shaky but rehearsed. Ryan's gone. What do you mean gone? He overdosed. The word hung there. I didn't even know what to feel. Anger, relief, guilt, all of it mashed together until it felt like static in my head. They said it was fentanyl, some cheap counterfeit pill, or maybe worse. The story kept changing. We had a quiet funeral, closed casket. No friends from college, no business partners, just family standing there pretending not to see the cracks. Afterward, Mom asked if I could drive them home. I said yes, because that's what I do. I stay, I fix things. But sitting behind the wheel that night, watching their faces in the mirror, I realized something. Even in death, Ryan still had all of them, and all I had was the cleanup. After the funeral, I kept showing up. That's just what I did. Fixed their car when the battery died, helped them file insurance paperwork, paid part of their mortgage when they said the taxes crept up, bought groceries when they forgot their wallet. Again, it wasn't about money, it was about responsibility. I thought they finally saw the difference, that I was the one who stayed, that maybe, just maybe, we were all on the same page now, learning from the mess Ryan left behind. Then the jersey showed up. That night, I didn't talk, didn't vent, didn't drink or slam things around like I wanted to. I just sat at the kitchen table, phone in hand, bank app open, started with the mortgage, canceled the auto transfer, then the recurring grocery card, then the cell phone payment I'd been covering for 2 years. Every single support line I'd set up, gone in under 10 minutes. I opened the Notes app and wrote exactly what I needed to say. No rant, no buildup, just facts. You lost one son. I'm the one who stayed. You just never noticed. That was it. I printed it out, folded it once, slipped it into a brown grocery bag with the jersey inside, tied the handles. No drama. I drove over to their place around 9. Neighborhood was quiet, porch light on. I parked at the curb instead of the driveway. Small choice, but I made it on purpose. Walked up the steps, dropped the bag by the door. Didn't knock, didn't text, didn't wait. Just walked back to my truck and drove off. My hands were tight on the wheel the whole way home. Not shaking, not cold, just locked. Like something inside me had finally made a decision and wasn't gonna second guess it. When I got home, my wife was sitting on the couch with her legs tucked under a blanket. She looked up at me, like she was checking for damage. "It's done," I said. She nodded once. That was all. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't need to explain it to her. I went to bed, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't lie awake running through their excuses. The switch had flipped, and I was done paying for people who never even noticed the cost. Next morning, it started. First the calls, 6 missed before I even finished my coffee. Then the texts. Call me? Please explain. Was that necessary? Then came the guilt. At noon, I got a voicemail. Mom's voice was tight, like she'd been crying but was holding it back for dramatic effect. "Are you seriously returning a gift for your own son?" she said. "We were trying to do something nice, something meaningful." I could hear Dad muttering in the background. Couldn't make out the words, didn't need to. I let it sit, didn't respond. Took Logan to soccer practice, picked up dinner, tried to enjoy the quiet that comes right before someone really loses it. Around 6, I answered one of the calls. Curiosity got the better of me. Mom didn't say hello. "You're being cruel," she snapped. "This is punishment for something that wasn't even our fault." I stayed silent, let her talk. We tried to include Logan. We thought it would be special. A tribute to a dead brother who lied and stole from me. There was a beat of silence. "You're twisting it," she said. "Ryan had problems. He wasn't perfect. But we lost a son. And I was the one who stayed." My voice didn't even rise. It just landed. Hard. She tried again, softer this time. "You don't understand what it's like. To bury your own child. You didn't bury him alone," I cut in. "But you sure acted like I was just the extra kid you had to keep feeding. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is paying someone's mortgage while they lie to my face. What's not fair is watching my kid unwrap a memorial costume like it's a damn toy." She didn't respond to that. I could hear her breathing, that shaky, angry kind. I waited. Finally, she muttered, "He was sick. He was selfish," I said. "And so were you." That hit. I heard her exhale through her nose. The guilt trip was coming. I could feel it. "You don't mean that," she whispered. "I do," I said, "and I'm done pretending otherwise." She asked, "So that's it?" "That's it." I hung up, blocked her number, blocked my dad's too, though he hadn't called once. Probably still letting her do all the talking, like always. After that, nothing. No more calls, no more fake apologies, just silence. That night, I stood in the garage, light humming above me, and stared at the wall for a long time. Didn't touch a tool, didn't turn on music, just stood there. You'd think cutting someone off would feel like snapping a cord. Sharp, sudden, loud, but it didn't. It felt like flipping a switch in a room I didn't live in anymore. The next few weeks were quiet, not peaceful, just quiet in that way that feels like something's coming, but hasn't hit yet. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let it go, but something told me to answer. Hello? Hey, that voice. Soft, nervous, a little hoarse. Amy? I asked. Yeah, she said. Sorry. I wasn't sure if you'd pick up. Amy, Ryan's ex. The one he never officially broke up with. Just kind of drifted away from like he did everything else. She was always too good for him, even when she didn't know it. What's going on? I asked. I heard what happened, she said. With your parents, the jersey, everything. My chest tightened. How'd you hear that? I still talk to your cousin Jenna. She said your folks are telling everyone you snapped over a gift. Of course they were. There was a pause. I waited for her to get to the real reason she called. I need to tell you something, she finally said, and it's probably going to piss you off. Go ahead. She took a breath. Your parents, they never really cut Ryan off. Even after everything, even when he disappeared, I didn't say anything. I felt my jaw lock. They were wiring him money, she said, through prepaid accounts, fake names, Western Union crap. I found records. He used my name once without asking, and I went digging. When was this? All the way through his fallout phase. Even while you were paying their mortgage. He was getting thousands from them, monthly. I couldn't move. I just stared at the garage floor like it might start giving me answers. And it wasn't just for food or rent, she kept going. He wasn't broke. I found stuff. Bank screenshots, receipts, vacation pictures, expensive sneakers, hotel stays, watches. He lived better after he vanished than most people do working full time. I knelt down slowly, knees popping as I hit the concrete. Why are you telling me now? I asked. Because it's not fair you were the one patching holes while they were filling his pockets. And I thought you deserved to know before you forgave them. I'm not forgiving anyone, I said. Good, she replied, because they knew. The whole time. They played both sides. I looked around the garage, at the shelves I built, the socket sets I organized, the walls I patched, things I understood, things that didn't lie. Amy sighed. I'm sorry, by the way, for all of it. Not your fault. I stayed with him longer than I should have, she said, but even I didn't know how deep it went. I didn't respond. There wasn't anything left to say. We hung up a few seconds later. I stayed on the floor, surrounded by tools I could name, knowing exactly how each one worked, and suddenly feeling like I didn't know a damn thing about my own life. It was a Saturday morning. Gray sky, cool breeze. Logan still in pajamas, watching cartoons in the living room. I was halfway through making pancakes when I heard the knock. Too slow, too fast. I knew the rhythm before I even opened the door. It was them. My parents stood on the porch like we were still living in the same damn story. Mom had a pie in her hands. Cherry, probably store-bought, wrapped in foil like that meant something. We just want to talk, she said, forcing a smile that barely made it past her lips. I didn't step back, didn't invite them in. Okay, I said. Then answer this. How long were you still in contact with Ryan after he disappeared? They froze. Dad shifted, looked down at his shoes. Mom's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Since the first year he left, she finally said. I clenched my jaw. So, the whole time I was paying your bills, it was actually for him. It wasn't like that, she said quickly. We never. Then what was it like? I cut in. Go ahead, make it make sense. Dad cleared his throat but didn't speak. Mom looked like she wanted to cry. I didn't care. He was still our son, she said, voice cracking. And what am I? I asked. Your backup? Your workhorse? You sat at my table, ate my food, took my money, and never said a word. We didn't want to lose you too, she whispered. I laughed, cold, short. You lost me when you put his name on a jersey for my son. My wife stepped beside me. She didn't say anything at first, just stood there, barefoot, arms crossed, expression hard. You need to go, she said. Mom's lip trembled. Please, just come talk inside. We'll explain everything. No, I said. This is done. Dad finally looked up. You're overreacting. I turned to him. You let him ruin my credit, destroy your savings, vanish, fake his own death, and I'm the one overreacting? He didn't respond. I took a step back, not to invite them in, just to close the door. Mom took a shaky breath, held out the pie like it might fix something. "We made this. We don't want it," my wife said, firm. "It's time for you to go." They stood there for a second too long, waiting for some last-minute forgiveness that wasn't coming. Then they walked back down the steps, slow like they expected us to call them back. We didn't. I locked the door behind them, walked back to the kitchen, flipped a pancake. Logan yelled from the couch, "Did someone bring pie?" "Nobody," I said, "just leftovers." The pie was still sitting on our porch 3 days later. Ants got to it. My wife scraped it into the trash without a word. A week after that, Jenna, same cousin who always knew too much, called me up out of nowhere. "You sitting down?" she asked. "Just say it." "It's Ryan," she said. "He's not dead." I didn't say anything. I just stared at the fridge door, the little dinosaur magnet Logan made in preschool holding up the grocery list. "He faked it," she went on. "Paid a guy for a fake death certificate, made a fake ID, moved to Costa Rica. Lived there for a few years. Surfing, drinking, posting travel pics under a burner account. How long have you known?" "About a week. But your parents?" "Over a year." "A year." "He came back when the money ran out," she said. "He's living with them again." I hung up. I sat in the garage with my hands flat on the workbench like I was afraid the world might tip sideways. Ryan wasn't dead, my parents knew, and they still let me stand at a funeral, still let me pay their mortgage, still let my son cry over people he'd never understand. I didn't call them. I didn't scream or curse or drive over. I sat with that truth like a fire poker pressed to my ribs. I wanted to explode. But that's not who I was anymore. Instead, I deleted everything. Shared cloud folders, emergency contacts, access to our security system. The grocery list I had synced to Mom's phone, gone. I pulled up my will, took their names off the backup guardianship clause, reassigned everything to my wife's sister in Oregon. At least I knew where her loyalties were. Took me about 30 minutes to erase a lifetime of just in case. Later that night, Logan was drawing in the living room, legs crossed, tongue sticking out the side of his mouth in full concentration. "Dad," he said without looking up. "Yeah? How come we don't go to Grandma's anymore?" I sat down beside him, watched him sketch a cartoon dinosaur with cleats on. "Because," I said, "sometimes even family crosses a line." He nodded like he understood, even if he didn't fully. Then he passed me a crayon. "Can you color the grass?" So I did. That was about a year ago. Since then, nothing, no calls, no letters, no fake apologies, no contact from them, and none from me. Sundays are ours now. I grill out back, smoke curling into the pine trees. Logan helps flip burgers with his little spatula, always piling on way too much cheese. Half the time it melts right off, lands in the fire, and he laughs like it's the best part. My wife laughs more now too, like something in her chest finally let go. Not loud or over the top, just real, honest. Like she's not waiting for another mess to clean up. We've got peace. Not the quiet kind that makes you uneasy, but the earned kind. There's no pink jersey in the house, no photos of Ryan, no letters in the mailbox from my parents asking if I've cooled down or found forgiveness. Not even the fake holiday cards they used to send with those long guilt trap notes inside. I built a new workbench in the garage. Nothing fancy, but sturdy. Real wood, clean lines, no shortcuts. I taught Logan how to use the drill without splitting the boards. First time he did it right, he turned to me with sawdust in his hair and the biggest damn smile. He's got his own cleats now, bright blue, signed by his coach after the last game of the season. He keeps them by the door like trophies. The other day, I caught him showing them off to the neighbor kid. Told him, "My dad got these for me. He always gets the good stuff." Some days, yeah, I still feel the old heat rise. The memories flare up out of nowhere. A smell, a voice on the radio, a picture in someone else's house. But it doesn't take me down the way it used to. It flares, then fades, because I stopped carrying what wasn't mine. There's no peace in being the one who stayed. It doesn't earn you anything, doesn't get you claps or medals or Christmas cards with your name spelled right. But there's power in knowing when to walk away. What would you have done if your brother faked his death and your parents hid it? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories.